All right, I just got done with the TRIMET shit show, and now I'm going to do a little bit of this dumbass board meeting. We really had quite the calls yesterday. I mean, for example, this one.
236, Northwest 6th and Flanders North.
236, I got your customer called up. What's going on?
I have a customer who is just kind of back here screaming at me, and he's not getting off the bus. He was asleep, and I woke him up, so let him know his block stop, and he's just refusing to get off the bus at this point.
All right.
He's just yelling at him. A couple other ones good here. Oh yeah, this is a good one.
2771 dispatch.
Hi there, 2771. What can I do for you?
Well, I wanted to run two things by you. First, there was this lady who just got off my Max shuttle at 60th, and I see her down at the bus stop for 71, whatever street that is, right before I turn on the freeway route. But several people had asked her, and supervisors had asked her to cover her face or put a mask on. So she opens up her cup and says she knows her constitutional rights and she refuses. For this, she
Yeah, the master providing endless entertainment for us scanner freaks.
wants to call on a bus packed full of people, of course. So I just wanted to let you know in case she does that up at 71. Second of all, I'm about to get off duty, and I know I have to do a police report for that incident that occurred with the passenger who hit the supervisor that came to help me, and he hit the other TRIMET customer service representative, and then he punched the police. But
He punched the police, the TRIMET service rep, and the supervisor. Oh my God, it's just unbelievable.
9112.
9112.
We need to get the police over here. This guy is verbally, yelling and stuff, but he's naked and playing with himself right in front of everybody. And when I told him to put his clothes back on, he just started screaming at me. So the police need to haul him off.
And they didn't come. They don't consider that important.
607 here. So I have a guy that stopped that has 2 guitars and 2 very large bags, and I think even another bag. I explained to him I have a small bus. I'm driving a 3400, and he told me to shut the fuck up, do my fucking job, and I'm a fucking bitch. So I like.
Okay. And one more. You want to watch? I mean, you have to go to my blog to see these. We got so much shit here that you just can't even believe it. Where was the other one? We want to find the other one. Oh my God, it's just unbelievable. There's one more here. Where is it? Mass, Greg, Operator Ill. Where's the assault? Here it is.
Hey, 907 in North Terminal. 907, it sounds like your seatbelt was stuck and the mechanic with you, correct? Yes. Yep.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Hopefully I didn't.
Hey, 907 in North Terminal.
Shit, I got the wrong one here.
907, it sounds like you're...
Oh, shit, man. That's the wrong call. Oh, no. Oh, my God. This was an important call. So this was...
Hey, 907 in North Terminal.
Okay, this was at 1632. So bear with me here. I got to find this one. No. That happens, I paste the wrong calls, and it happens. Okay, let's find it. It's Control F. It was what? It's 7509. this is it. Here it is.
Hey, 907 North Terminal.
Wait a minute. Oh, I see. It is the right call. It's,
Sounds like you're
all right, okay.
and the mechanic with you, correct? Yes. Yep, it's
I forgot it's at the end of this one.
907. Okay, I caught that. I just want to make sure you're taken care of first before we go to that person. Can you see the person still around you?
He just had his face with it.
Did anybody get
Assaulted by some guy, flipped his wet t-shirt.
down with you, okay?
Alright, will do.
Thank you. 1633.
Hi, this is 78509. I'm at Hollywood Transit. I just got assaulted by some guy, flipped his wet t-shirt, slapped me in the face with it while he was exiting.
Okay, I copy that. Did anybody get in your mouth or eyes?
Well, my eyes are not covered. It all happened so fast. He slapped me right across the face with it.
Okay. Do you want some medical attention?
I'm not sure what I want. I want the guy to, I don't know what I want. This has never happened to me before.
All right. You want to listen to that call? You're going to have to either check my Twitter feed or go to my blog. But it is fucking crazy out there.
Anything to drink?
How about one of those Cokes?
Okay.
Or use some mushrooms. How are they in
I
here?
didn't take that.
You can take them. Go ahead. Be my guest. All right. Now we're going to go back to this ridiculous, after after listening to the scanner and then I go to this, it's just like the absurdity of these people becomes crystalline clear. The absurdity of these people who have no connection to what's actually happening out on their system is just, thank you. What a nice bone. It's been so nice to me lately. The absurdity of this board and what it's doing and its lack of connection to reality is just shocking to me.
Congestion, and does the climate messaging resonate? And Lonnie can
Where does the climate messaging resonate? I mean, you guys are so disconnected from reality, it's hard to believe that you're even the same agency.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the climate messaging does resonate. However, I think right now, while we're still kind of easing out of the pandemic, I use quotes over that, but I think a lot of it is just marketing what we're doing, how we're keeping people safe,
You're not
and reminding people that we're still there.
You're not keeping anybody safe. I just got done listening to the scanner. It's a fucking tragedy out there. Nobody is safe on your transit system. Not only is nobody safe, but you're playing Russian roulette with getting picked up because they don't have enough operators.
I think at some point in time down the road, when people are more comfortable, they'll need that reason to come back. And obviously the climate messaging will be key to give people that message that they're doing the right thing by taking transit. So I think that's a little bit of a way out. And I think that through our research, we can learn a little bit more about what that messaging might look like. Lonnie, did you have anything else that you wanted to add in?
No, you're spot on, JC. I will add that, that particular message around environmental really probably is going to resonate with those folks and might be.
It's hilarious because I just spent the whole day, while I'm doing the calls, I'm also searching the Twitter for all the various chaos that's going on around the country and around the world. And it's people can't even go to the hospitals because hospitals have just fired all the people, and then there's shortages and there's strikes. I mean, really, the whole world is burning, and these people are in this elite bubble of parallel existence. And it's very symptomatic of the world we live in now. You have an elite class who lives very comfortably with lots of money away from the chaos, and then you have the rest of the world burning to the ground.
A key talking point when we message out to those folks who are going to be starting to work from home more regularly. That might be a key selling point. But back to Director Way's comment about those essential workers, I think, initial, as you'll see in as you saw in some of the research that Madeline presented, security and safety and the health of their while they ride on our system is paramount. So I think making sure that those systems are up and we're promoting them and we're communicating them to our essential workers is going to be kind of a key element. And then from that's that reassurance that I think the rest of the market needs right now, is to know that if they do start right back with us, that we have implemented security procedures and cleaning policies and stuff like that. So for right now, those are more of the important topics, and then eventually environmental play back into what we do.
Ridiculous.
So that, thank you. Okay, so next we're going to have questions from Director Lewis, followed by Director Gonzalez.
Thank you, Director Simmons. As a new director, this is my first strategy session. Lots of information, so thank you to everyone. A little on the overload side, but a lot of good information for everyone.
Look at how they're all smiling.
But I have an observation and a question, and that's...
Look at how, look. He's smiling. She's smiling. He's kind of smiling. Ozzy was smiling. She's smiling.
For Karen, and earlier in your slide...
This Karen woman, this Karen Powell, you listen to her? She's a real fast talker, man. She can really swing the bullshit. If you listen to her, he's just asked her a question. Wait, listen to her. She's a #1 bullshitter. Very excellent bullshitter.
Slide, you were showing the pictures of the trash. I'll go back to, Director Edwards' comments of the trash, and I'm thinking to myself, our ridership is low, but where's all the trash coming from? And so,
it's your fucking society falling apart, Laverne. Okay, we call it on the Twitter the ditch. Thousands of people are in the ditch. I know you don't know that because you're some doctor in some university in an elite bubble, so you don't know. But the fact that you have to ask that question means that you are disconnected from reality.
I mean, is it kind of like walking up? I mean, there's some assumptions of where we know it's coming from, but I know when folks are home, especially when we were pretty much on lockdown, you tend to accumulate more trash. And so I'm not sure, and I don't know the boundaries of, like the shelters, bus shelters, and the parameters of what's TRIMET's area. But I was wondering, because the trash is coming from our population. I mean, you don't have low ridership. So I was wondering, is cleaning up those areas the total, responsibility of TRIMET?
What she's describing is the complete and total failure of government to provide the most basic of service, because they're all in an elite bubble servicing their elite friends that they can't even pick up the trash. There's no government anymore. It's completely servicing the elites. It doesn't work for any people anymore. This is where we're at here. And she doesn't even, I mean, how do you even not know the answer to that, Laverne? Come on. Are you that disconnected from the world now that you don't know the answer? Come on, you can't be. You look smart. You're a doctor. You got a nice office. Look at your nice office. What kind of dumb question is this?
Or do we have any partnerships with Peabody, Metro, or the Sheriff's Office?
Look at Karen. Watch Karen. Look at her.
To tackle all of the convergent trash.
Listen to her answer. Listen to this woman sling the shit, man. This woman knows how to. She slings the shit as good as anybody I've ever seen. Ready?
Dr. Lewis, thank you very much for those questions. As I think my colleague, Mr. Pat Williams, is adding in the chat right now, unfortunately, a lot of the trash, and particularly the spreading of the trash that you saw in those photographs, is often the result of the house's population either emptying our trash cans if we haven't been able to get to them quickly enough to, sort through looking for bottles and things that they can get redemption value from. So that is...
Yes, the ditch people are trying to survive. They're not clean. They're not neat. They're not mild-mannered. And what is she smiling about? See, this is why I like this, because I can watch the facial expression. Somebody like me loves this kind of thing.
Is one very large component of the issue. We do believe, as I mentioned earlier, that having more service workers assigned to platform duties and emptying those trash.
Limited term, let's repeat that. Limited term, Karen, as you made so clear in your previous presentation.
Trash cans on a shorter interval will alleviate that condition to some degree. In terms of the partnerships, I laughed to myself just a little bit as you asked that question. We spend an extraordinary amount of time discerning which particular locations belong to whom, and there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of kind of arduous conversations with our jurisdictional partners around.
It's called failure of government. That's what it's called. The various tax ghouls that steal from the public so that all these people can get paid. They're arguing with each other who should pick up the trash. That's how dysfunctional our government is.
Where some of those lines actually land. And we are continuing to improve our record keeping and our access to records. Unfortunately, what happens a lot of the time is we might contact one of our jurisdictional partners and say, you know, we have a significant issue adjacent to our area of responsibility. Can you please take care of it? And that will often result with a no, that's not our area of responsibility, to which we must produce the intergovernmental agreement, or IGA, that actually lays out those responsibilities. So it can be a little bit arduous, but it is improving. I'm also very happy to report on a great partnership with Solve. And I'm sure you're familiar with Mayor Wheeler's commission chaired by Sam Adams. We have multiple TRIMET folks sitting on that commission and have developed some very good rapport with other groups. And we've seen several Solve cleanup campaigns in our areas. There's one coming up shortly, and those have been very impactful and made a tremendous difference. There's a little bit of complexity there in keeping those volunteers safe and out of our alignment and so forth. But
they use that word safe all the time. These are government brainwashers. Look, what's he looking at? JC's looking at. Let's check the expression. Who is she? Who's this?
Overall, it has been a very successful program. And I would ask my colleague, Director Williams of Security, if he would like to add anything to my comments.
Thanks, Karen, and I appreciate this opportunity. Dr. Lewis, I think what was really surprising to me at a recent community event that I went to, where we were discussing this, and it was the West community, and they were discussing some of the challenges, because a lot of the neighbors were actually taking trash bags down along Johnson Creek area off of Lavelle. And what they had said, that they had even seen neighbors taking trash down and just leaving it on the side of the road. So it wasn't just houseless folks, but it was people not paying for trash service. And again, there's a lot of people that love to point fingers. I will add that I cycle a lot, so I would say I'm an avid cyclist, and I spend a lot of time on the trails and go through our centers. And so what we do see is a lot of the groups that pick up trash, they will pick it up, and then they'll take it and they'll pile it in one area for a larger pickup. So sometimes it has a tendency to look like huge piles, which they are, but they're being collected so they can be picked up more efficiently.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a
Dr. Lewis,
question.
I would just also note that we do have partnerships. We have a really good, as Karen mentioned, we have a really good relationship with the city. Sam Adams and Mayor Wheeler's office has helped us. I would just note
Sam Adams and Mayor Wheeler, two hated figures in Portland. Wheeler is the Trump of Portland.
that because the need is so great with our jurisdictional partners, PBOT, the city, ODOT, that we end up getting in line with all of the other needs. And so, but I will say those partnerships are strong, and we continue to utilize them to the best of our ability.
Sure. Sling the shit, JC. Sling it out. All right, Ozzy's
Dr. Lewis, do you have any other questions?
That's a dumb.
No, not at this
Ozzy, you got anything decent to say, or are you just gaslighting me?
Thank you. Director Gonzalez, and then Director Edwards.
Thank you very much, President Simmons, and hello, everyone. Thanks for the information. I have three items, since we had so many topics covered under this last sequence of presentations. So the first one is very much in line with Director Lewis's comments now. I echo the sentiments about the need for not just better collaboration, really leaning into the IGA, leaning into the partnership with Mayor Wheeler's office and the Solve program that is now really starting to have a sustaining kind of effort. But let's recognize that whether it's the Solve volunteers or the federal emergency funds, these are not the permanent answer. The IGA has a lot of opportunity to really lean into how we are going to share the responsibility of those jurisdictional lines. And the lines are fuzzy, and their lines are fuzzy for our staff as well, and the public. But that shouldn't prevent us from agreeing to the objective, and it is to have safe, clean public spaces, safe, clean public services. And so the first one wasn't so much a question, really just echoing that.
So I'm looking at the Solve website. It's volunteers. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, if the government can't even provide basic services, what fucking good is it? It's no good. It's complete parasitical. Your government is 100% parasite. It does nothing for you. Nothing. You can't get a bus. Okay, your trains or services shit. The city of Portland is a dump, especially the downtown area. The mayor's a complete failure. Government is just a parasite. There's no redeeming value for we the people in government now. It's completely gone.
But the question is really, how are we going to have a sustainable long-term answer to how this is going to get handled?
So now that's a good question, but let's hear how it. He asked a good question, but he doesn't follow through.
This is not just one day everyone's going to wake up again and remember, let's be nice and neighborly and keep our city clean ourselves. Let's pick up after ourselves. Let's pay our own trash. Let's put bags of trash back in the can after I've taken bottles out for myself.
The ditch people aren't going to do that. You think people in the ditch care about how your fucking city looks? They're in the ditch. Listen to some of the calls. You tell me those people care.
These are behavioral things. These are
the result of a society in collapse. That's what it is, which has nothing to do with TRIMET other than it's a piece of the collapsing society with its own elite and not helping. It's completely dysfunctional and where it interfaces with the public.
Community awareness kinds of values. And this is the moment in that kind of relationship where one of us has to be the humble partner and step forward first to show the behavioral realities that we're trying to move ourselves towards. Portland, the region used to be the kind of place where you couldn't flick a cigarette butt on the sidewalk without someone saying, "Excuse me, I think you dropped your cigarette butt."
Yeah, that was then.
We are far from that space today. Getting closer to that isn't an IGA and it isn't a volunteer program. It's really a community value that we have to be a part of, and we have to bring that forward. So I see that we have some good things in play. I don't see anything that's going to be here past the emergency funds or past a volunteer effort, maybe past a mayoral term. I don't know. So these are important things to really look at as an issue that's not going to go away. We still have solid waste management issues at large. So that was the comment. This leads me to the second item. It's a great thing that we're bringing greater visibility to the cleaning efforts. I fully appreciate that we're making the transition from the touch point cleaning to a more broader, more visible kind of effort.
No, Ozzy, they should never have discontinued the touch point cleaning, okay? Because we just got through listening to the Delta variant, Delta, and at the same time, TRIMET discontinued cleaning the buses. So it's a fraud.
I truly appreciate the partnerships with ATU that's already helping us cross, break down silos and really kind of lean into the fact that we all are here for a common purpose, despite sometimes that your job description or your business card title might not be exactly pointed at that one thing. And I want to recognize that whether it's the security, the new security personnel, the folks that are coming out for safety, the folks that are going to be cleaning, much like the drivers. They are all ambassadors of TRIMET, representatives of TRIMET. They're going to be branded in some fashion for TRIMET, and I'd love to get a sense for what this visibility is going to be. I think the public deserves to know. This is a driver, this is a cleaner, this is security personnel. If they're going to have different uniforms, especially, or if they're not going to have different uniforms, I believe the public is going to see them all as TriMet, and they're going to ask, how do I get on this line? Or, what happened? I don't know, when's the next stop? Or how do I get enrolled in the low fare program? Whatever it may be. Those are all touch points. And so whether we've asked them to do it or not, whether they believe it's inscription or not.
Ozzy, you're rambling. Come on, get to the point.
Isn't going to protect them from the fact that they will be ambassadors, and how they interact with the public is going to reflect the values that we're trying to bring forward. So I see it really important that in this high visibility kind of campaign, I see an opportunity for communications. Pardon me. Now I'm getting spam calls. Okay. The opportunity here is the customer service focus, centering customers, making sure that they see you have ambassadors at the back of the bus, the front of the bus, cleaning the bus, driving the bus, all those places. And I see an opportunity.
You don't have the buses. Are you paying attention at all? You don't have the drivers. There's no will to change that.
Opportunity for the internal branding to really talk about cleanliness, the stations to talk about cleanliness, maybe at the stations, at the bus, ways to kind of identify the uniforms, the different kinds of uniforms, the different kinds of personnel, because it gets confusing really quickly. And, especially for those that, don't trust government or don't see government as a nuanced thing with many policies and departments and layers, it's all one thing. So it's better to kind of help them know.
Apparently he is paying some attention. He's the only one that actually looks at Twitter, I think. So he's the only one that even has a clue about the opposition. The rest of them are just, at least he has some connection to the opposition, even if it's bullshit. At least he can see it. Nobody else on that board has done that. And I've gone out of my way to be nice to him. I'm not rude to him or don't chastise him or poke fun at him. I'm trying to be reasonable.
And for any touch point to know how to properly hand off a request. So that's really, I see an opportunity there. And I'd love it if we could see the uniforms. Can we see what we're coming up with? Can we see what that visible representation is going to be? So that's the question. Now I'll go to the third one. This goes back on the theme of communications. I really appreciate Director Y's comment about centering essential workers, centering those folks that are the backbone, that have to be physically moved, who the work from home thing is not in their on the palette of reality. And I realized that the Writers Club is a very powerful tool. The survey was great information, but I wonder, who's in the Writers Club? I know it's a lot of numbers. Does it accurately, is it an accurate cross-section of our pool of writers? My impression is, based on, perhaps my own personal unconscious bias coming to the surface, is that the essential worker, the dependent writer, the low-income fare participant is not as likely to be in the Writers Club.
That's right.
On the website, going and interacting with TRIMET that way.
He's got it.
We're going to get the more tech-savvy folks that are in the Writers Club doing our survey.
See, of all the board members, he's the most intelligent. I'm convinced. He's the most intelligent, and he has some idea about the problems. I think he's the only one that does.
I want to make sure that we're leveraging the Writers Club properly. So the question is really, what is that cross section of the Writers Club? Do we have the
It's not the ditch people. Okay, he's right. It's not the bus dependent people are not in the Writers Club. The transit dependent riders are not in the Writers. I guarantee you. I know who they are. I spent years with them. They don't do things like that. Okay.
profile here? And are there gaps that maybe take us towards making sure that we have those, the backbone rider in the Writers Club? Do we have a way to communicate with that backbone rider in a sort of a comprehensive way? I imagine that we can easily tell how many low-income riders, how many folks in the low-income rider program are in the Writers Club. I also imagine we could find out how many low-income rider applicants are tapping each day. So, those are the things that really shift who is using the system. I would imagine there was a higher proportion of low-income rider applicants right in the system during the pandemic. But, that's to be verified with data.
The only people riding the system right now are the transit-dependent riders, okay? And they're all low-income or they wouldn't be transit-dependent, okay? Let me clear that up for you. Now, they're not in the Riders Club, okay? They don't do that, okay?
And in the end, I'll conclude by simply saying, with Riders Club, with social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, those are all channels that are opportunities for us to interact with the public, and as well as those high visibility personnel that are going to be out there keeping us safe and clean. All of those are customer service portals, and how we receive comments from social media or someone tapping the shoulder of a cleaning personnel. Those are all touch points.
The cleaning personnel are gone, Ozzy. Okay, they're gone. You've been paying attention or not? They're gone. They moved them inside or they moved them to the transit center.
And in all of those cases, I think trying to bring forward the values of advocacy for those riders is what's most important. And when I think of our low-income riders, when I think of the essential workers, I not only would love to have them be a part of the Riders Club and be a voice of advocacy that we can lean in to elevating, but I would love to see how we can proactively find ways to alleviate what we already know is an ongoing burden for low-income riders. There's many folks that, are fresh out of its first job, fresh out of school, and will graduate or escalate their income out of the low-income rider program someday. But there's a lot of jobs that don't offer that to people. So do we have ways of leaning into having employers, companies?
I can't wait to hear how they answer his question. Okay. He always asks good questions and they don't answer his questions and he doesn't follow through. This is going to be another example of that, I'm sure.
Enterprises that provide jobs for a lot of folks that pay what do you call it? Base salaries or hourly rates that are just at the minimum wage.
Yes.
Those are the folks that aren't a possibility to be providing a subsidized fund for those riders, and they could be getting the low-income rider price, perhaps, but why are we still asking the low-income rider to be the one kind of figuring all that out? These are the ideas that come through this, and it's an example of how we can engage with those riders.
Well, he makes sense. I know what he's getting at, and he's right. He's right. Okay, I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying he's very long-winded with it, but I understand what he's saying, and he's correct. He's trying to say, how are we going to reach the people that are really the lowest on economic level? How are we going to get them to participate? And unfortunately, it's not going to happen because the system isn't set up that way. I mean, how are you going to do it? I just don't have the slightest idea. Let's see. I can't wait to hear the answers.
Ensure they're represented in our Writers Club and lean into advocating for them in things that, at the end, are in our best interest. They are our backbone as much as they are the backbone of the rest of keeping the.
Actually, they're not the backbone, Ozzy. The capital projects is the main focus of TRIMET, and I'm sure you know that. Okay, The transit system is the little stepbrother to the capital projects department.
The city's operating. So I would love to see us utilizing those mechanisms more.
Okay, let's hear the answers. I can't wait.
I will hop in there, President Simmons, to answer some of those questions. And Pat, I'll call on you to talk just a little bit about deployment, because I think that was one of the things that I kind of picked up from a lot of you said, Director Gonzalez. And I do agree with you. Just a couple of notes. You asked, this is not, how do we make this a sustainable effort? And I think that that is still, the cleanliness on our platforms and our stations. How do we do that in a sustainable way? And I think it really is partnerships. Much like downtown, we are part of a partnership called PMMI, which is Portland Mall Management Inc. I think, Terry, you can correct. Oh, good, I got it right. Thank you. But we're part of that partnership where we contribute some money, but we also get services out of it to help the area stay clean, and they're constantly out there working. Do we look at that model elsewhere, the Gateway area?
See, now Vanetta here is just deflecting. He's not answering. He's deflecting. This is not an answer.
And I think that we have to show leadership. TRIMET needs to show leadership around some of these efforts. And so we don't have an answer for you right now, but I think that we're still learning, and it is something that
at least he's honest about that. They don't have an answer. That's right. They don't.
We are taking into account each and every day as we figure out more. A quick note about our uniforms. I put the a website that we communicate to our riders. I put that in the chat. We actually help spell out all those uniforms that you see on our system, who they are, what they do, how they interact. And so there's some updates still to come, because we got some new uniforms for our operators, which look really nice. And we also have...
the operators don't agree with that.
It needs to be updated to include our safety response team. But this is something that we communicate out to our riders, so they understand who is on the system and what they should see. Lastly, for me, you had asked who is in our Riders Club. And we don't necessarily use the Riders Club as a formal survey. So we don't...
yeah, they have, though.
We don't...
I've seen that.
Because it's non-scientific. We don't know that cross-section. We use our Riders Club really as a way to communicate things to, meaning...
they use the Riders Club as they send their propaganda to the people that are on that list. That's what they use it for. Because I'm on their list. I see what they send me propaganda.
Whether it's about service or service service disruptions. It's usually a one-way communication tool for our Riders Club. However, there are times that we run what we call rider pulse surveys, where our folks in our Riders Club are awesome. I think we have about 70,000 people in our Riders Club, where we can ask instantly a couple of questions like, what are you taking, Max, to work today? Are you taking, something very quick? And let me just tell you, they love to respond, and we get probably 3,000 responses back in about an hour. We definitely use them to take those pulses. But when it comes to real research and getting that cross-section, we leave it to the experts. Ginger and Madeline, they know how to do it. We will bring in outside firms to really get that kind of cross-section. So we have representative voices at the table with those decisions to help us inform our decisions. Pat, do you want to talk about the deployment of those crews?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, JC. And I sent Kimberly a photo if you'd like to share it, or I can share it. But with the SRTs, what we're doing is they're working predominantly day shift right now. We've got, I think, almost 10 of them. A few of them are going through training. 7 of them have been through the full training. They're in uniform. They're 7 to 3, 7 to 4-ish. We're trying to keep them in the core area to start with. So they're predominantly downtown. They're riding out to 122nd. They've been out to BTC. They will stretch a little further as the more they're on the system. They're riding all the lines, though. And this week they started riding on buses as well. And we are having just an incredible response from people. And if you see the photo, they really stand out with the high visibility vests that they wear. Now, the uniforms themselves, we've adopted similar to some of the other security, but they have, and that was from the board's request to try and have a consistent uniform presence out on the system. And so we have embroidery that says safety response team, and then if you see the reflective vest, it's clearly printed on the back, safety response team.
Safety response team, there's one of them somewhere around. There, look.
The question?
Wait. Oh, wait, I gotta get a picture of this. This is the safety response team. Okay, we got it, man. All right, I have to have a picture of that.
Oh, great.
And that's the first group that are out here. And I have to tell everybody, I'm really proud of this group. And I'm proud of the people that are leading them, but more importantly, they have jumped into this full speed. And they want to conquer the world, and they're infectious. And so it's really, really nice to see. Really nice to see.
The website link that JC put in the chat, I just went and looked at it, and it's fabulous. It shows all of the different uniforms and what the roles are within TriMet, and it was just went live on September 1st. Am I correct on that?
September 1st last year.
Oh, last year. Okay.
Yeah, we've had it up for some time because we wanted to tell people who they should expect on our system. So,
JC, this is Karen. May I speak to a couple of Director Gonzalez's questions?
Oh boy, here we go.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Director Gonzalez, thank you for your excellent questions. And I made a couple of notes. In terms of...
Here's the queen bullshitter.
Of the portion of the cleaning program that is in my department, we will be looking at outcomes and trying to develop a data set measuring the impact of these changes that will take effect this coming Sunday, and using that to inform a budget request that we would submit for FY23, seeking to make some of these roles permanent based on the outcome of our observations and data of the effectiveness. And of course, we'll be working with this larger interdisciplinary work group, looking at larger data sets as well. So we do have a little bit of a plan in place to take this to the next fiscal year. And you mentioned values, and thank you for mentioning values. Those are very important to me. And I think I recently shared with the board that our values in the facilities management department are safety, customer service, teamwork, professionalism, and communication.
Yeah, sure.
And whenever I'm out speaking with our staff, I try to hit on those core values and help them to make a connection between their daily activities and behavior and their impact on our effort to regain ridership and to keep our system clean and safe. So we seek to make that a very clear connection for both the limited term cleaners and our service workers who are out on the platforms and will be joined by those cleaners next week. I try to really help them understand how important their response to those customer questions that you kind of covered a moment ago. How do I get to where I'm going? I left my purse on the train. How can I get it back? To really help them understand that they are ambassadors. And I'm afraid that historically we did not have our service workers in uniform. So one of the early moves that we made was to provide a TriMet branded vest. Historically, they've just worn T-shirts and jeans and a plain safety vest. So we have provided all of the service workers with safety vests that are TriMet branded and Safe Facilities Management on the back, and we're trying to replenish those right now. There have been some supply chain issues, but I feel that it is very important that they are recognizable as TriMet staff while they are out on the alignment and in our public areas. We're also working with our partners, Nate Griffin and his crew, to expand that uniform and to get them into TriMet shirts, at least so that they look a little bit more professional and a little bit more recognizable. I'll be out with the service workers again this week and next week, and we'll continue to reinforce those important points that you made. So thank you again for asking those important questions.
I think we're going to move on now to Director Edwards, and then Director Kim, and then Director Way.
Oh, boy.
Thank you very much, Director Simmons. Thank you also, Director Lewis. You helped trigger something for me that I forgot to mention earlier. And we have a change in leadership at Multnomah County Sheriff Department. You have a new sheriff. I was hoping that we've had some conversations with the new individual that's leading the sheriff's department to make sure there's continuity in what our expectations are from them.
What? I'm distracted.
That would be either JC or Pat.
If you want me to take that on?
Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Director Edwards, for that comment. And that's a really good question. And I'm really proud to say and very happy to report to everybody that I don't think we have a break in the action here. I mean, we have started a good thing. And how I describe it to everybody is we had a great system that worked and it delivered our customer to a certain location for over 30 years. We've torn up the tracks and we're delivering a new system with customers, and we have to meet that need. And so Multnomah County Sheriff's Office has jumped in and they have really embraced that philosophy and that new challenge. And with Travis Goldberg leaving us to be the chief in Gresham, Chief LeJure has stepped in. He was a former lieutenant of the Transit Police, and he hasn't changed one bit. They are part of our security meetings every week. They're part of our discussion.
Whatever.
They're part of our discussions that center mostly around mental health issues and how can we divert customers towards that service.
They haven't been doing any of that on the buses, okay? I don't know what's going on the trains because I don't have time to listen to the Max calls. Maybe I should start listening to Max instead of bus for a while because the bus is just complete chaos.
As opposed to the law enforcement side and the correction side. And I'm really happy to report.
I can tell you that the cops won't respond to the bus at all unless it's something violent is going on. And that makes sense. I mean, the cops can't be bouncers for bus drivers. Just because somebody's yelling, it's not a police issue. I mean, the bus drivers have to toughen up, man. I mean, you're in a very bad situation. Don't make it worse on yourself. But yet I hear so many bus drivers continuing to make things harder for themselves. And they just don't get it, man. I don't know if it's bad training or these people that lack ethics or what. They're completely clueless how their behavior is contributing to the rider bad behavior. They're just clueless. They don't have any idea how it's connected.
We're making good progress. I know this is just going to take some time to get the system really up and running and high visible for everybody.
Is that the guy that took Supporter's job? Wait a minute. No, wait. Blagg took Supporter's job. Who's this guy? Who the fuck is he? A new guy. They just made another position, another bureaucrat. They created a new job.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Kim, and then Director Way, and then Director Gonzalez.
Oh my God.
Thank you, President Simmons. Not a question, just a comment.
All right.
First,
I
many
can't
thanks
go
to
on
all
anymore.
staff.
It's 48 minutes. It's going to take forever to get this done. This is a comedy show. It's not based in reality. These people aren't connected to reality. None of it is reality based. They're talking about things that aren't happening. I'm going to say it again, although I've said it 1,000 times. You have to bring your service back to pre-pandemic levels. That's what you do to get your riders back. If you can't do that, the rest is waste, okay? That's all the thing you need to do is you start with bringing your service back. And then if some of those lines don't produce, you cut them back. But what they're doing is backwards. They're going backwards. They've created this entire bureaucracy. They've allowed the transit system to be destroyed. It's a destroyed model of transit right now. TRIMET is an abject failure. Whatever these idiots are saying is not true. I'm listening to the operation on the ground. These people have no clue, or they're in complete denial, or they're just lying. But the transit system is a disaster, man. And all of these people in their elite little bubbles making their fat salaries don't have a clue.